cricket, Pakistan is known as the land of pacers. It's produced some of the most sensational fast bowlers ever. Nothing is more exciting than Shoaib Akhtar terrifying batsman, Wasim Akram swinging the ball like it's on a string, or Waqar Younis crushing toes with his Yorkers. These pacers are undisputed legends of the game. When Pakistan joined the cricketing world, it quickly became one of the most formidable fast bowling teams. Its lineup had players like Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, Waqar Younis, Shoaib Akhtar, Mohammad Asif. The list goes on. But still, with this rich history of pacers, Pakistan has a glaring fast bowling problem.
U.S. national cricket team pulling out a shocking and historic win over Pakistan.
पाकिस्तान टीम को दुश्मन की जरूरत नहीं है, ये खुद ही बहुत है. अब इनके मुंह में चूसनी डालेंगे क्या हम? इनको बताएंगे सिचुएशन अवेयरनेस क्या है?
Don't get me wrong. It's not that talent's the issue here. I mean, every edition of the PSL brings up a new shiny pacer. It's that these bursts of talent burn out as quick as they spark. The raw fast bowling talent remains raw. It's never harnessed. And for the team's long-standing fans, this has got to be the most infuriating thing to see. At the same time, it's undeniable that these bowlers have the capability to send the wickets of your favorite batsman cartwheeling. We've had promising talents like Amir, Asif, Wahab Riaz, but they've been too short-lived in their careers. Not a single one of these bowlers has played 50 test matches. In fact, since Wasim Akram and Waqar Younis have retired, the country has struggled to groom a single long-standing fast bowler. And it's sad to see, because nowhere along this line from Wasim and Waqar to the present has there been a lack of talent. We can go on all day about Pakistani bowlers of the past and the ones of the present, but clearly something has gone wrong, as since Wasim and Waqar have retired, no bowler has managed to be able to stick around. Now, to understand what has happened and where Pakistan might be going from here, we first need to dive deep into the factors behind what shaped the careers of these players. The good, the bad,
Kohli goes down the ground. Kohli goes out of the ground.
and the ugly. So, where did Pakistan's bowling prowess first start? Pakistan's fast bowling legacy began as early as the 1970s. Sarfraz Nawaz founded the art of reverse swing, a discovery that changed the game forever. With this new sorcery, Nawaz made an insane impact in matches. He claimed figures of 9 for 86 while on tour against Australia. The man created an entirely new discipline of pace bowling, but this might not have even been his greatest achievement. You see, after becoming a legend of the game, Nawaz was recognized as a valuable asset for PCB to invest in. The power star came to have as much sway off the field in the management room as he did with the ball. Nawaz ended up taking a promising cricketer from Oxford under his wing, a young man by the name of Imran Khan. With the discipline's founder at his side, Imran Khan became a master of this new dark art. After learning reverse swing, Imran Khan took 40 wickets in a 6-match test series in India. In one innings, he took 5 wickets in the span of 25 balls. And from there, as captain, Imran Khan forever changed the trajectory of Pakistan pacers. In the 1990s, following the legacy of Nawaz, Captain Imran Khan scouted 2 domestic cricketers who were unknown to the international scene. Perhaps you've heard of them. It just so happened that these fast bowlers were Wasim Akram and Waqar Younis, and they changed everything. Their devastating pace and swing made Pakistan's bowling attack one of the most feared in the world. Batters would be terrified out of their minds to face them. Wasim's memorable deliveries in the 1992 World Cup final against England are etched in the Hall of Fame. Waqar's toe-crushing Yorkers and banana swing are the envy of every pacer. Together, this duo claimed a total of over 1,700 wickets. That's 17 followed by 2 zeros. The most between any duo in cricket history. And then, on top of all of that, came Shoaib Akhtar, the fastest bowler out there. His fastest ball, at above 160 kilometers per hour, has yet to be overtaken by anyone else, even in the modern day. And he knew he was good. All of this firepower came together in the most important cricket event, the World Cup. Their success was absolutely crucial for Pakistan's 1992 World Cup win. When you have powerhouses like these, masters of their own craft, and the silverware to show it, that's when you know you've left behind a legacy. This is what became the foundation for Pakistan's reputation as a breeding ground for fast bowling talent. These players created a legacy that every new pacer aims to uphold. Now, since then, countless bowling talents have emerged. We've seen the skiddy Mohammad Sami, the limited over specialist Umar Gul, the man who made the ball talk Mohammad Asif, the promising Amir, Hassan Ali in the Champions Trophy, and literally countless other players. Iconic moments from these players bursting to the scene and shocking commentators is so abundant it can fill a movie theater. But something was different. This time period isn't marked by dynamic duos or any kind of long-term leadership. These fast bowlers fell from the scene as fast as they blazed into public view. Scandals,
The first ball of the second over.
contract issues, injuries, the list goes on. The same nurturing leadership that saw Pakistan rise with a consistent flame wasn't there anymore. But why? Honestly, you could say Pakistan had so much talent that the PCB didn't know what to do with it. If they weren't already wrapped up in drama and getting banned, players would constantly be turned over for the next best thing. And so none of these players were able to stick around. And it shows in the numbers. A good indicator of a team's commitment to developing a player is how often they include players in test matches. The grueling nature of this format produces some of the most experienced bowlers in modern cricket, like Steyn, Anderson, and McGrath. From 2003 onwards, no bowler has consistently stayed in Pakistan's lineup. Among teams that have played at least 150 tests since 2003, Pakistan has the least experienced bowlers. In fact, not a single Pakistani bowler has played more than 50 tests. In the same time span, India has 4, New Zealand has 4, England 3, Australia 5, and South Africa a staggering 6. Compared to other competitive countries, Pakistan's bowlers are highly inexperienced. We saw a lot of names come out during this time, but Pakistan wasn't able to find even one go-to pacer. All of this tells us the PCB somehow became different in between. And gone are the days of sticking with your players. For some reason, churn is now the name of the game. And this isn't just about longevity on the player's end. I mean, look at Amr. He's still kicking it after all these years. His recent World Cup performance is a testament to what could have been. The reality is that Pakistan had no sense of direction in the pace department. In the process of being spoiled for choice, they were never able to stick with any single pacer. And because of this, the sad part is that none of these bowlers were truly able to reach their full potential. Now, imagine if on top of all of this mess, someone lit a dumpster fire under the PCB, because that's exactly what happened. From 2009 to 2019, international cricket in Pakistan came to a stop due to security concerns. This forced matches to be hosted in the UAE. The dry and hot pitches of the Middle East were a bowler's nightmare. It forced pacers to work harder than they ever have before. In fact, in test matches, the pacers had a bowling average of 34 in UAE compared to 30.73 elsewhere. And yet, PCB still saw bowling talent emerge even through this. In these challenging conditions, there were still a couple of diamonds in the rough, like Mohammad Abbas and Hassan Ali. But unfortunately, with so much going against the team, even they couldn't stick in the side for long. Hassan Ali, at his best, had an on and off relationship with the team that still exists to this day. And yet, PCB was somehow still blessed. Talent continued to pour through the ranks, and we saw insane performances. Every Pakistani fan remembers the display of bowling it put up against India. When international matches finally returned to Pakistan, the PCB regained more control over its players and conditions. But this positive sign was soon accompanied by a rise in demanding schedules. Franchise cricket has now packed player schedules between series, tours, and tournaments, leading to a demanding year-round schedule for Pakistani bowlers. The PCB, on top of all of this, added more salt to the wound. Apparently, the PCB withheld payments to players for 5 months, from May to October 2023, part of which was during the 2023 World Cup season. When you're not even paying your players, it's no wonder your best bowlers leave for leagues around the world. This issue was highlighted in the case of Haris Rauf. Rauf's contract was jeopardized, leading him to opt out of the team's test series against Australia and join the Big Bash League instead. When players have to fight for their pay from their cricket boards, it's hard for them to stay motivated to play for their teams year-round, ultimately killing talent. And the biggest consequence of these packed schedules is injuries. In the 2022 World Cup, who could forget Shaheen Afridi's World Cup deciding injury? While he made a wonderful comeback in the World Cup, you can still hear commentators discussing his weakened pace. You even hear people talking about a vintage Shaheen, as if to admit he hasn't been the same. To be fair to Shaheen and PCB, these classifications are probably overblown. He's recovered well and is clearly Pakistan's best asset. Naseem Shah also suffered a shoulder injury that prevented him from playing in the recent One-Day World Cup, where Pakistan's bowling department desperately needed him. And sure, injuries happen, but PCB has somehow found ways to make things worse. Hassan Ali's career is one that is mired by poor injury management by Pakistan Cricket Board. In October 2019, Hassan Ali suffered a back injury during a gym session. That back injury was misdiagnosed and he returned to play, making his condition only worse, as it was revealed that he had a stress fracture in his ribs. And it wasn't until halfway through 2020 that the correct diagnosis of a disc protrusion was finally finally noticed, basically a year after the initial injury. These are a series of misdiagnoses and delayed treatments. We're talking about careers here, and Hassan Ali's has been severely impacted by PCB mishandling. And somehow, Hassan Ali isn't even the only one. Another concerning case is the mishandling of emerging bowler Ihsanullah. In the Pakistan vs New Zealand series in April 2023, Ihsanullah complained of elbow pain. The medical team, after initial scans, claimed there is no problem, and when he continued to bowl, his elbow only worsened. Extra scans revealed an elbow fracture, and that was followed up by a botched surgery. When these details came to light, a top medical official at PCB resigned. This utter mishandling gives pacers, who are typically the most at risk of injury, no confidence in the PCB and its management. Pakistan cricket has been under intense scrutiny of late, but when it comes to its pacers, not all the factors affecting them can be blamed on the management. The management had no control over UAE pitches, and it's not really responsible for the constant changing from political forces outside of the cricketing board. But in the recent World Cup of upsets, we saw Pakistan show its worst performance in the T20 World Cup, and it looks like the team might be going into a major rebuild. But the rebuild will be happening on its batting side, and the core bowling lineup is actually looking like it's here to stay. For what it's worth, this might be a welcome change for the pacing department. After some injuries and contract mishaps, the trio pacers the world has come to adore of Shaheen, Naseem, and Rauf are finally back in the lineup, and they gave it everything this World Cup. Each bowled at a sub-7 economy, and Naseem had the most impressive of 5.91 with an average as low as 14.2. To the PCB's credit, these players have been heavily invested in. They are each deployed at a particular part of the innings to work off each other and build pressure. The rebuild phase should definitely focus around providing Rauf, Shaheen, and Naseem a reliable batting side, because we've already seen them consistently hold teams to competitive totals, oftentimes totals that are subpar. On top of that, veterans like Mohammad Amir and Ahmad Wasim came out of retirement, and their figures were amazing. Ahmad isn't a pacer, but he's still an example of what could have been. Of players who bowled in at least 4 innings, Mohammad Amir led the team in averages at an insane 10.28 runs per wicket, the 5th lowest average. And in the meantime, Ahmad Wasim had the 4th lowest economy of the tournament at just 4 runs per over, and they did this all while coming out of international retirement. Imagine what they could have achieved if the PCB had invested in them and properly developed these players. All of this is to say, PCB can't see its players as regular assets. These fast bowlers will only improve as they age. The world is already afraid of this trio. Keep investing in them, and you might have something that stands the test of time.